Welcome back to Outside Today. Steph Davis has carved out a uniquely adventurous career as a base jumper, wingsuit flyer, and she's also one of the world's most accomplished rock climbers. Among her many feats, Steph has made first ascents of some of the world's major peaks. She's free climbed El Capitan in Yosemite more than any other woman, and in her spare time, she's an author, photographer, and blogger. And she's here with us today. Thanks so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So that is a long list of accomplishments. How did you get into this?
I started climbing when I was 18. I was a freshman in college and just got taken out climbing one day. That was it.
You were hooked.
Yep.
Well, and you had so many achievements. I mean, again, you've climbed some of the world's biggest peaks, tallest peaks, most challenging routes. Are there any that particularly stand out in your mind as being some of the most memorable?
I think all the routes I've done in El Cap have really stood out. It's a special place, and it always takes a lot of effort anytime you climb El Cap in any style.
What makes it so difficult?
It's big. It's 3,000 feet, and so just the sheer size of it. And then when you want to start free climbing it, it gets very particular because you have to free every move, only the rock. When you fall, you kind of have to start over again.
Does it happen a lot? Like as a free climber, like do you fall?
Can you fall?
Yeah. Free climbing, it's when you only use the rock, but you do have a rope to catch you if you would fall. And then it's a little confusing because there's also free solo climbing where you don't have any rope, so you really don't fall.
Now, you also free solo climb, right?
Yeah.
Why say no to the rope? I would be clinging onto that rope. What's your motivation for getting up there like that?
Again, when you're free climbing, and that's something I probably like the most of all the types of climbing, you're trying not to fall anyway.
Right.
And so, so it's almost just taking it a step further to have that solidity when you walk up to something and say, okay, I know I'm not going to fall. So why would I bring the rope?
I mean, between the wingsuit flying and the base jumping and the free climbing and without the ropes, I mean, how do you manage your own personal fear?
Fear is a tough one because when you get really scared, you can't really do anything. And so I've put a lot of energy myself into studying that and saying, okay, how do I not be controlled by that? Because fear, it's just a performance destroyer. And being scared often causes you to be less safe because you can't do a good job. Mm-hmm. So I try really hard to not be stopped by fear, but I also try not to do things because I'm afraid, if that makes sense. I think when I was younger, if something scared me, I thought, oh, I have to do it. I gotta, grab it by the horns and make it happen. And now sometimes, if I'm really scared, sometimes I'll listen to that and say, maybe not today.
So you do get afraid, you do get scared.
Yeah, and I think sometimes, if it's bad conditions, for example, if you want to go base jumping and it's too windy, maybe you're afraid or maybe you're evaluating the conditions that aren't right, but whatever reason, it's not good to go at that time.
So what's the difference in feeling between a wingsuit or base jumping or skydiving?
Well, skydiving is kind of the base. That's how you learn to jump. Mm-hmm. That's how everybody starts. That's where you learn your skills. You go up in an airplane, 13,000 feet above the ground, way up there, nothing to hit, plenty of time, second parachute in case something goes wrong. So that's where you learn.
Kid stuff.
Yeah, it's super safe. So that's how you learn. And it's very different. It's like a lot of wind and noise, and you're in the airplane, and there's a lot of people, and it's all happening really fast. So it's exciting, but base jumping as an outdoor person, it's a little more of a normal environment because you stand there, it's on your own time, it's quiet, there's no wind rushing. Then when you're ready to jump, you take that step off the edge. And in Moab, where I live, our cliffs are very short, and so you can only free fall for 1 or 2 seconds, and your body never reaches terminal speed, so you actually feel that falling sensation the whole time. Whereas skydiving, you leave the plane, the air is holding you. You don't feel that you're falling. It's more like skiing fast on a bike. You feel the force of the air. When you get taller cliffs, this is usually when we go to Europe to fly wingsuits because you need bigger cliffs. It's a really interesting experience because when you step off the edge, in those first few seconds, you feel the fall because you haven't caught the full speed yet. So you're falling, and then all of a sudden you feel the air catch your wings and you start flying. So it's this amazing
So cool.
shift, yeah.
Okay, but so you can't do that everywhere in the United States, right? There are limitations to where you can base jump and wingsuit jump?
You need the right cliffs, and they need to be relatively accessible. And in the States, unfortunately, we have some excellent wingsuitable cliffs, but they happen to be in national parks, and the national parks are negative against base jumping, so you can't really do it there. So we're pretty limited here. It's got to be, it's got to be in the right domain. It's got to be in BLM land or, national forest or something.
Right.
And then they have to be suitable. They have to be sheer and tall enough. They have to be easy enough to get to. So it kind of narrows it down.
Is there any urban jumping? Like, do you ever find yourself in a city, in a hotel, or on the top of a building, and say, I'm gonna go jump off this guy tomorrow?
Yeah, people. That's kind of some of the beginnings of base jumping. It's actually an acronym, BASE. It stands for, let me make sure I have this right. It's Building, Antenna, Span, Earth. And so those are the objects that you would jump from, and that's why it's called base jumping. So building is the first one.
Hotel. There's no hotel in there, David. Nice try.
It could be any building. It doesn't have to be a hotel.
That's funny. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
with us
thanks for
today.
having me.
It's inspirational. I don't know if I'm going to go. David might force me to do
Maybe
it.
we'll do the tandem.
Okay, deal.
If you come to Mob, we'll take you base jumping.
Thank you so much. All right, when we come back, Nick Heil will be here to explain the proper approach to your yoga session.